Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. In front of me, I have a lot of Master Chiefs. A lot of people would probably say too many. And I kind of agree. You really only need one Master Chief figure. But Mega has decided to give us a Master Chief in like every other set, if not more, in the Infinite Wave. So the point of today's video is to go through these figures one by one, take a close look at each one and compare them to kind of see which one is the best out of all six. There are six at the time of the recording of this video, but I know that one of the sets that have been leaked or revealed for release later this year has another Chief, which means most likely I'm going to have to do another one of these videos in the near future. But for now, we have six to look at, so we're going to go ahead and start with this guy all the way over here. Okay, so this Chief is from the Warthog rally. He's done up in this kind of matte military green. He has the 117 print on his chest, as well as prints up on the shoulders, and a fully printed up head. Other than that, he has no extra detailing, aside from the mold of the pieces. And despite that, I think this figure is really good. The clean look is just really nice, and this color is really good too. It lends itself well to the clean look. So I think this guy is really, really good. You know, despite the fact that he doesn't, you know, he's not the flashiest of all the Chiefs, but he is really solid. And if you're just needing a normal Chief, this is the one you're going to want. He's pretty easy to get a hold of too. Our next Chief is from the Master Chief vs. Craig 2-pack. His visor is a darker color than the Chief we just saw. A little bit more metallic. He has the same print on his head overall. And, you know, mostly the same print. He's just got it on his shoulders in the 117. The major difference for this guy is he was given a silver dry brush, which on my version looks like his arm was run over by a truck. So that's a little disappointing. That's the downfall of these dry brushed figures, is that because it's a random process, you might get a great looking figure, or you might get this, where he kind of has a Winter Soldier thing going with his arm. So this one's a little more hit or miss. Mine was obviously a miss, but for a lot of people, I know they've gotten good ones. The silver definitely adds a little bit more realism if you want it to look like Chief has gone through a big battle, which usually Chief is going through or has gone through a big battle, so it makes sense. Now this guy, this is the Chief from the Defense Point Showdown, and at first glance he might look like the same as the Warthog Rally Chief. His visor looks to be a little more metallic. But the major difference for this guy is he has some very subtle dirt print. Look at that. He's got like sand or mud up his legs. He's got a little bit on his chest, a little bit on his lower arms, a little bit around the back. And that's really cool, in my opinion. I really like that. It really sets this guy apart while keeping the nice matte look of this armor. And you can instantly tell when you set these guys side by side that they are not the same. So again, this guy is, it's really, really easy to tell that he's not just the same Chief. Although he is a little specific. It's kind of hard to have Chief posed up in, say, a snow diorama when he has mud all over his feet. Next up is the Chief from the Pelican Inbound set. Now this guy, he had the potential to be the coolest out of all of these Chiefs, and he just fell short. He has all this silver lining on his kind of edges of his armor to make the detail pop, and on a white background you can really see that because the light's reflecting. You can see some down here, a little bit up here, a little bit on the face. I think that could have been really cool. It needed a little bit more definition to make it really work. But the thing that really shot this figure down was that the visor quality and the head print was just so much lower than previous Chiefs. It didn't go down quite as far as it should. It was just not great. The paint looks a little more rough. So that was pretty disappointing, especially since this guy came in the biggest set of the first wave. He's just mostly there, and he's not all that great. So this is the Halo Heroes Series 13 Chief, and we've taken a jump from the original color up quite a few shades. It's to be more accurate to the game. Personally, I like this first green a lot better. It just looked more sharp, but I do understand Mega wanting to get it game accurate. And this guy has a dry brush as well. This one's kind of a mix between some dark silver and then light silver to get a layered look to the dry brushing, which is cool. But the lightness of the armor makes it look kind of translucent and more plasticky. But overall, the production of this figure is really nice. The head looks really good. The visor is applied well. And this guy is really easy to get because he is a Halo Heroes figure. And a lot of people were not too excited about seeing another Chief in the Halo Heroes series. So he's not really that expensive right now either. And last but certainly not least, we have the Chief from the Master Chief Collection set, the Comic-Con exclusive. And I will say right off the bat, this is my personal favorite. The color is really good. See, it's lighter than this, but darker than that. It's kind of a really good in-between. And then he has the wash, which brings out all of the detail. His visor is the cleanest out of all of the ones that I have seen so far. It just looks really good. And they threw in the little extra print for the triangle on the chest, whereas all the other Chiefs are unprinted there. You can see around the back, all the detail just pops because of the wash. So, obviously I'm a little biased towards this figure, but the big downer is that this guy is really hard to get because the Master Chief Collection is really hard to get. So, unless you've got $80+ to spend on the whole set, you're really not going to be able to get a hold of this guy. Now that we've gotten a closer look at each Chief, I'll go ahead and tell you the way that I rank these figures. I'm sure that a lot of your guys' opinions will differ, and I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. Which Chief is your top pick? And I'm sure you have guessed this guy right here is my top pick. He is just the best looking Chief. Because he was in the Comic-Con exclusive set, I think Mega really put a little more effort into making him look as good as possible. The visor is the best out of all of them. The color is really good. The wash is amazing. It just looks so good. So he's definitely the #1 Chief. He's the best looking Mega Construx Halo Infinite Master Chief figure, and I doubt that's going to change. Again, because he's a Comic-Con exclusive, I doubt they're going to put any figure in the set that surpasses him. And then next up, I would put the Warthog Rally Chief, because despite the fact that he's not flashy, he doesn't have any extra detailing, he's just super solid. He's produced well, he's easy to get, and that green looks amazing. Third spot goes to the Defense Point Showdown Chief, because he's essentially just the Warthog Rally Chief, but with some extra dirt added on. The production value is at the same level, and that dirt looks really darn good. Fourth spot goes to the Halo Heroes Series 13 Chief. Despite the fact that his green looks a little toyish, he was produced really well. His visor is good, the wash/dry brush looks good. He's just a good figure overall, and he is a little bit closer to the game green, even though I do prefer this green. That is more accurate. Now in the last two spots, #5 goes to the Versus Pack Chief. He's not a bad figure, but because he's such of a roll of the dice whether you get a good figure or a bad figure, that puts him at the second to last spot. Just because, as you can see, mine really doesn't look that great, and it's a random process. So you could get 5 sets and have 2 of them be great and 3 of them be bad. You just really don't know. And then the last spot, number 6, goes to the Pelican Inbound Chief, because he just feels like such a missed opportunity, I guess. He wasn't produced as well as he could have been. The extra silver paint needed to be a little bit more bold, and that visor came out really kind of grainy looking, and it wasn't printed all the way. I know probably some people got better looking visors, but from what I've seen overall, that Chief just has issues with the helmet. So he lands at the very last spot. Well, there you have it. That is all 6 of the current Halo Infinite Master Chief figures compared. As I said at the beginning of the video, Mega is still cranking out those Chief figures, so I'll probably have to do another video in the near future with however many more Chiefs in this lineup. But for now, that's all of them. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. How would you rate these 6? And are you annoyed with the fact that there's this many Chief figures? Are you liking this many Chief figures? I know in the past, getting a Master Chief was like, it was hard. Like I had to search for like months to find a cheap Chief. And now we can have 6 of them and not have spent too much money. So I think it's both a plus and a minus, but I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.